All right. I think really the only new one on here is George. He's has some stomach issues that he's working through, and we'll get him back out there relatively quick, I think. All in all, good practice today. We did our normal Friday workout. Had to do a little bit earlier with the heat, but normal Friday workout. Good special teams period to start with, and then finishing with some heavy red zone and knocking that out, and then review on the other situations. So anyways, with that, time's yours.
Andy, Chris Jones is suggesting on his social media accounts that maybe he's willing to sit out for a little while. I don't know if he's serious or not, but do you expect him to start the season without him at this point?
I haven't. There's been no communication, so I don't know what's going to go there. But whatever happens, happens. I mean, not there. The game goes on, right? So that's how it works. So.
You used to do the GM stuff too. I know you've said you kind of like not being a part of that. But as someone who's a head coach and been here for as long as you have, you know Chris so well, is there a way for you to get involved in this, or you just?
No, not right now. There's not. Yeah. So they got to communicate and do their thing, and there's just been no communication. So.
Andy, when it comes to the receivers, you know it's going to be competitive there. You know, when it comes to 6 or 7 or whatever number you guys choose, just first off, how proud are you to see all that competition, but then second, how tough the decision is for you?
Yeah, it's good. That'll be a tough decision at that spot. The guys are playing well. So we just have to see. We talked to him about special teams. Ends up being a big part of it. He might be a good receiver, but if you can't help out on special teams, you got a problem there. So that ends up being a part of the thing.
Coach, unless you've already mentioned it, what's the expectation of what you plan on doing with the 1s, 2s, and 3s going into Saturday?
Yeah, so the 1s might get a little bit of time. I'm still working through that. So 1s will probably get a little bit of time, and then the 2s and 3s will take it from there.
And following up on that, what's going to be your message for those players who are going to, lacking the time in the second half, just trying to make the team? What's your message for them?
Yeah, so that's a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity to get yourself on tape, and everybody can't make it here. I mean, we know that. They were told that when they first got in, but make it a tough decision for Brett and myself and the personnel guys and coaches. So, and then if you don't make it here, we're going to give you an opportunity to be on tape. We're not holding you back. So you get out there, you perform and perform well. So if you can't make it here, maybe you make it somewhere else.
The 1s, that doesn't include Patrick though, right? Or does it?
We'll see.
Hey, Andy, with the quarterback position, we talked about 6 to 7 for 2 or 3 with that particular position, keeping on the roster.
Receivers?
Quarterbacks.
Quarterbacks? Yeah, possibly. Right now we're juggling the whole thing. Yeah, there's competition for that 2 spot, and the guys are competing. So we haven't finalized anything yet on that, numbers-wise. The bottom of the roster thing you got to kind of work through and see how it all works out. And then you can't forget to include special teams in there too, and how we work with that.
Coach, after you and Rick watched Isaiah these past few days in the red jersey, is he trending in the right direction to maybe get involved on Saturday?
Who was that? Yeah, there's a chance. Yeah, there's a chance. I'm just kind of spotting him here and seeing what he is comfortable with. We got the yellow jersey off him, and he's full throttle. So, but we'll see how he does here next couple of days.
We're going to get to talk to Shane here in a little bit. He's getting more and more reps with the 2s. You've had him for a couple of years now. What sort of growth have you seen from him, and is something even clicking more lately for him to get more of those reps?
Yeah, well, he looks more comfortable. And I think in a crazy way, Blaine's been good for him, and bringing out the best in him, the competition. And and Blaine's competing like crazy too. And it's been a good challenge there for him. But he's doing a nice job. More time, coming up here. So see how both of them do.
Andy, without Chris there, how have you been impressed with the defensive line that kind of stepped up and out?
Yeah, they're working their tail off, and I appreciate that. And it's similar. If somebody gets hurt, you got to go play. And so that's the approach they've taken. Chris isn't here, opportunity for us to play, and they've worked their tail off there. Yeah, it's been impressive to watch it.
Andy, is there a guy from that group who's maybe taken a step since, or more than a step since the start of camp?
Yeah, so when Mike, when he got back in, I think he's done a nice job. He got some play time and showed in that game. So I think that's good. And then I think George is a lot stronger than what he was last year. And so that's a positive thing.
Couple more, or we good?
Yeah, Coach, mentioned that D-line, Turk's getting some reps out there today. How's he looking for Saturday?
Yeah, he's doing all right. Yeah, he's doing all right. He's lucky he's got a good foundation, man. He's got big legs and strong legs. And so I thought he was moving around well, quick.
Is he gonna play against Cleveland?
Yeah, there's a chance. Kind of the same thing with Pacheco. We'll just see where we go with this thing in the next couple of days. We have tomorrow's not a normal walkthrough day. It's a 8-8 period, so we got one more day there.
What do you tell rookies about playing at Arrowhead for the first time?
Yeah, well, they've heard it all. They've heard it, and most of them have seen it on TV. But it's a special place to play. We've talked to them about that, and there's nothing like it. So.
Coach, I know this might be a dumb question, but do you ever, you have your ones, you have your twos, you have your threes, but do you ever want to see how a number 3 can go with a number 1, like Patrick with, say, number 82 or something? Do you shuffle around a little bit rather than divisions?
Yeah, I mean, we evaluate the guys every day, and so if we think somebody has something that shows, we go ahead and give them an opportunity to move in there, and a little bit like what we've done with the receivers. And some of those guys are guys that we're trying to look at and see what they've got. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Okay, good, thanks.
Morning.
Hey, what do you want to get out of Saturday if you get any time at all out on the field?
Yeah, I think just keep, I call it stacking, keep progressing, keep getting better and better. I mean, obviously, you want to hit the regular season rolling, and we have a great football team. We're playing that first game, and so we did better than the first game, this last second game, and let's keep building and getting better and better and get that momentum going into the first game of the year.
Are you still looking for you mentioned how you haven't been hit yet. Are you still kind of anticipating wanting to get that first hit out the way or what?
If it happens, it happens. I mean, obviously, it's kind of a good thing because I mean, the offensive line is protecting really, really well. So it might be the regular season. Hopefully, I mean, I go in with the mindset that I'm going to take a hit here or there, but the offensive line goes into the mindset they don't want me getting touched. So it's hard to tell them to let someone through. It's not like I remember the Titans or anything like that. So I just if it happens, it happens.
Chris Jones is out there on Twitter suggesting maybe he'll skip a half a season or whatever. I don't know how serious he is, but I do know he's not here. Are you expecting to start the season without him?
No, not necessarily. I mean, I know that stuff, contract stuff, is hard to talk about because everybody wants to make money for their entire family and everything like that. But I know how much Chris loves the Chiefs. He loves being a part of this organization. And so I just try to stay out of it and just tell Chris that I love him and that whenever he does come back, he'll be welcomed with open arms. And we know that he's preparing himself so that whenever he does get back, he can be that dominant player that he always has been.
With that said, has this been going on maybe a little longer than you anticipated it would when say, camp first started?
Yeah, I don't think anyone expected him not to be here now, but that's part of the contract negotiation stuff. So I mean, I'm not looking down on him for anything like that. He has stuff that he's trying to get done that he feels like he needs to get done right now, and so I respect his decision. And then whenever he gets back, like I said, we open him with open arms, and he's a vital part of this organization, and so I'm glad that he's on my team.
It is different from when a player is injured and not playing versus someone that's healthy that's holding out. Does that put more pressure on the offense when the season begins if he's not on that, knowing what he brings to the team?
Not necessarily. I mean, you have to trust everybody. Obviously, Chris is a once-in-a-lifetime type of player to be that big at the defensive tackle spot and being able to get sacks and do stuff like that. But you have to trust the entire defense, just like they have to trust the entire offense. Whenever I'm not in the game, they trust the guy that comes in is going to go out there and make an impact. And you've seen that with Chad over the last few years. And when in the game that Travis wasn't in a couple years ago, other guys stepped up. That's how great football teams work. Is you got to have depth everywhere, and you got to have guys that will step up whenever their number is called. And obviously, you want to have these great players like Chris, but everybody has to step up whenever their number is called.
Patrick, you've had the opportunity to go against this first-team defensive line as is for the past month. Obviously not in contact, but what have you seen in the line as is? How's the confidence level in what they can do?
Yeah, I'm very confident. I mean, we have a lot of great players, a lot of depth, a lot of guys that are coming in and working hard. Obviously, there's some young guys like George and Felix and stuff like that, but they play hard every single play and they get after it, and that's what you want. Obviously, it's hard to replace just Chris because Chris is, like I said, a once-in-a-lifetime type of player. But I think with groups of guys, they're doing a great job of just working hard and continuing to push to make themselves better.
Coach said there hadn't been any real contact between the organization and Chris recently to comment about, but I'm assuming some of the players text with him or talk to him. When's the last time you talked to him? What are his spirits like?
Yeah, we stay in contact with him all the time. I mean, he's in good spirits. I mean, he's a guy that he loves football. Like I said, he loves playing for the Chiefs. And so it's a hard time for all players, I think, whenever this stuff comes up. Because you want to play, you want to be out there, but at the same time, you want to take care of your family. So it's finding that right spot and where you think you need to be at that time. And so it doesn't hurt. Like I said, it doesn't hurt his relationship with any of us. I mean, we respect his decision. But at the same time, whenever he comes back, we'll welcome with open arms and know that he's going to be a pivotal teammate to help us try to make a run at the Super Bowl again.
Couple more, guys. Go for it.
If you do play on Saturday, it kind of marks a change of philosophy of playing in the final preseason game. Is this something you want, you feel like you need to get some snaps?
Yeah, I just prepare myself every week. I prepare myself to play. I get the reps in there, and then I follow Coach Reid's lead. He's done this for a long time. He knows what's needed every single year in order to go in and play well at the very beginning of the year. That's why his record is so good at the beginning of the season. And so I prepare myself to play, and if I get that call, then I'll go out there and play and try to execute at a high level. And then try to just prepare myself to be ready for that week one of the regular season.
We'll go last two, Harold and then Adam. Go ahead, Harold.
Patrick, you've got to see Shane over the years here. Now he's developing. Looks like he's in position at least to compete for a backup spot. You know, how have you seen him develop, and how proud are you, if you will, with all the advice you've given him and all the other guys have given him to make him see him impress?
Yeah, I think just the entire QB room. I mean, we push each other to be great. We want that QB room, no matter who steps in, to be able to go out there and have success. And I think you've seen that over the years with Chad. You've seen it with Matt Moore. And now you've seen with Shane. He's getting better and better every single year. And then you've seen guys like Blaine, who's came in and learning a new system. And he's already having success early in the preseason as well. And then Chris. I mean, we try to take pride in that QB room that no matter who steps in the game, there's no drop off, and that we can all go out there and have success. So I'm proud of all those guys. But I mean, it's Shane being here for 2 years, and it's to stay grinding and preparing for his moment. And he's done great this preseason so far.
Adam?
How closely are you gonna follow the cuts next week?
I mean, it's hard. I don't like to follow it too closely. I mean, I'm rooting for everybody. It's hard to sit there and you don't want to, I guess, promote for one guy to make it over another guy, because this is people's livelihoods, it's people's lives, and so I let those guys, Brett Veach and Coach Reid, handle that. Clark Hunt, everybody like that, and then they do a good job of finding the best players to put in positions to go out there and have success. But I don't follow it too close. It's hard for me. I mean, I like all the guys in the locker room. It's hard to see guys, even if it's for a moment, their dreams kind of get cut right there. And so it definitely is a hard day, I think, for everybody in this league.
Okay, thanks, Patrick. We'll get Shane your way in a second.
All right, guys, go ahead and fire away.
Shane, can you talk a little bit about the battle for that number 2 spot between you and Blaine? Patrick was saying what a great quarterback room it is, but you guys are out there fighting for that second position.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like Pat said, it is a great room, and there's a lot of competition in that room. And that's what you want. I think it gets the best out of the guys, and Coach Reid, Nagy, Girardi have done a really good job of making it a competition, and it's our job to go out on the field, play like we're going to be the starter, and prepare that way. So we take in the competition, we embrace it, and try to put our best foot forward.
Where do you feel like you made the biggest leap from last year to this year?
I think just my knowledge of the offense and my comfort in the offense. This is really the first time that I've had an offense for 3 straight years, dating back all the way to college. So my comfort in this offense has grown a ton, and I feel a whole lot better being out on that field with my knowledge of the offense. So that's the number one thing. And then just being with these guys, taking reps and getting more reps in practice has been a huge thing too, just getting on the same page with everybody.
Was there a play or a moment where you realize, oh, it's kind of clicking a little bit here, like I'm starting to piece things together?
Just throughout training camp, really in OTAs too. Just the start of my third year, it's just progressively gotten better and better. And as we continue to game plan for teams, we can hone in on a game plan and go out and execute. It's been really good for myself as well as the team just to come together and try to go win a ball game.
What's been the biggest difference? He's going up to your third year, but the last 2 years you had Buechele calling the plays in your ear. What's been the difference between he and Nagy calling those plays to you?
I mean, there's really not a whole lot different with the whole process of getting the play from Nags. I mean, EB had a certain style, the way he called a play, and so does Nags. So it's a little bit different, but at the end of the day, they're calling it the same, and it's our job to go execute it.
Shane, were you aware Saturday, were you aware Saturday that you were perfect?
10 for 10.
And were you surprised at all at halftime when the decision was made that maybe you weren't going to go back out on the field?
Yeah, I did think I was going to go back on the field. So I was a little bit surprised about that, but I did not know I was 10 for 10. Someone on the sideline did tell me, so I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, I was looking forward to going back out there in the second half. I didn't end up going, but just anytime you get to go out on the field, I embrace it and I want to go out there.
Shane, you're your own person, but what have you learned from Patrick, being with him for 3 years? I mean, I'm not expecting you to do a behind-the-back thing, but
Yeah.
what have you learned that maybe fits well for you and helped you grow as a quarterback?
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, it's tough. It's not tough being in that room, but you kind of gotta take what Pat does and kind of put a little bit to your game, and also let him do what he does because he's the best in the league at what he does. So definitely his leadership style. I think that gets kind of caught up in all the behind-the-back passes and deep throws, scramble drills. The way he leads a football team is special, and so I see that. And then just different ways and protections. He's super smart. I think that's another thing that gets overlooked. So just his knowledge of the offense, the way he carries himself and carries this team is definitely something that I've taken from him as the older brother, I'd say, in the room.
Shane, you spend a lot of times with the wide receivers that are trying to make the cut here. You know, in your impressions of working with them through practice and games, you know, how tough of the competition this is for the receivers, and just how talented this room is, and just your overall impressions of those guys that are trying to make it.
Yeah, they've done a really good job. You know, we have our 1 or 2 guys, 3 guys, but I mean, that room is stacked with talent. And so it's tough, man. We see in practice every day, there's a new guy that comes up and has a great day. And then there's a guy in a game like Amir who had an unbelievable game. So, you know, it's tough. But just like we said at the beginning of this, competition brings the best out in people. And so that's good for that room. We see it every day, and they'll continue to shine.
Shane, we got to watch our last time we we're going to get to watch the practice today. We watched a lot of your guys' practices, and we watch you guys taking mental reps back behind. But when you start getting more of those number 2 reps, does that give you a little different feeling when you're going out there on the practice field? Like, hey, I'm getting more reps than I was before. Does it give you a little boost as well?
Absolutely. I think just the more you can rep something out in person in a team setting where you're actually in there in the game, I think it helps a ton. And don't get me wrong, the mental reps behind the quarterback do help a ton, but also just being in the practice and actually getting those reps does help and correlates into the game for sure.
Coach Nagy mentioned just how hard you've worked behind the scenes over years to put yourself in this position. Now that you're in the mix here for that spot behind Pat, just how rewarding do you feel just having done all that work?
Yeah, I mean, it's just what we do at the quarterback position is we put in a lot of work, and when the time comes, it comes to fruition. So it's our job to be as prepared as possible for any type of thing that happens in the game, in practice, whatever it is. We got to be prepared, and we never know when it's going to be. That's the tough part of being a backup quarterback, is you never know when something's going to happen. So you have to prepare like you're the starter and be ready for any moment.
Shane, what's cut-down day going to be like for you this year, and will it be any different than it was for you, say, a couple of years ago or even last year?
That day's always tough. I mean, you never know what's going to happen, and you just hope and pray that your play in the preseason did a good enough job to put a good impression on Coach Reid and Veach and all those guys in the office. And so it's a tough day, but we'll see when it happens, when it gets here.
You have a better feeling about it in your particular situation than you did last year?
I'd say a little bit, yeah. for sure. I'd say I'm a little bit more comfortable just on the aspect of those things, but still, it's still kind of an eerie day a little bit. So we'll see when it gets here.
Hey, Shane, in what ways does Patrick set the standard you were talking about in terms of maybe the intensity of the work? And I just wonder if you've seen him even grow in that way in your couple of years here.
Yeah, I mean, in everything he does, there's a tempo that's really unmatched, and he pushes these guys, and especially in the beginning of a practice, I mean, his tempo is really impressive, and we are harped on that to get these guys going in the beginning of a game, beginning of practice, whatever it is. And so Pat does a really good job of just leading these guys. And then it trickles down to us whenever we go in with the twos or the threes, whoever it is. It's our job to get these guys going as well. And so we take that from the top down.
And does it surprise you at all that he continues to have the sort of fire and motivation that he's had after all he's already accomplished?
No. I mean, he's one of the most competitive people I've ever been around. And he takes that, I mean, all of the accomplishments that he had last year, I mean, that's in the past, and he'll tell you that. It's a new year, and he's looking forward to this year, and we all are. Yeah, last year was great, but this is a new year, and we're going to try to accomplish the same thing and more.
What do you remember about, you were a freshman, I think, in 16 when he was at Tech and you were at Texas?
Oh, yeah.
What do you remember when you,
Yeah,
like,
come
when
on.
you saw him? Like your first impression of seeing him out there playing against you guys?
Yeah, that was a great game from what I remember. But they that was cool. You know, whenever he was a junior, I was a freshman. We knew each other growing up, not like personally knew each other, but I knew of him, just similar backgrounds. Dad's played ball, playing college football, and so you know, getting to see him, just I mean, and he was a slinger, man, like he is now. He was doing that at Texas Tech and with Cliff and all those guys, but just seeing him for the first time, and I got to say hello to him. That was cool, and I mean, God works in mysterious ways. We're here now, and one of my great friends, so that's a cool thing to connect on going back to freshman year, and now we're here however many years later. So
Thanks, Shane.
thanks, guys.
Now's your chance to take a shot at it, right?